Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Loreweek. I'm your host, Slightly Early Dude. So I just saw this news tidbit. It's not actually in my notes, so I'm just going to mention it really quick. Apparently, there's a new, they've announced the name of a new Vampire the Masquerade game. It's called Swan Song. You'll be playing part of the Camarilla, excuse me. So that's cool. We've also got the Coteries, which is going to be a visual novel. I don't actually know much about that one. But that's cool. My head really hurts today. You ever have one of those nights where no matter how you sleep, your neck hurts? Yeah, that's me right now. So, I have three things to talk about right off the bat with regards to the show. First and most importantly, though, happy birthday, Max Time. I know you're not actually here because you're off celebrating said birthday, but I wanted to say it nevertheless. Happy birthday. It's actually funny because I had something else to say about Max Time, regardless of the fact that it happens to be his birthday. And that's the fact that I've been, so for those of you not aware, I have resumed work on the theater now that the YouTube cycle is done. In fact, I did some work on it just a few minutes ago, just before I hit start. And his efforts and Cloud's efforts have been very helpful in getting the directing style of things done. So I'm about halfway-ish through Chapter 10, give or take. Probably more than halfway. Anytime I finish Zidon's lines, I'm doing pretty well overall. In fact, I finished most of Kuj's lines today. So, whoops. I still need to do Thorn, Soren, Sid, Dr. Tot. Let's see, Artania, Baku, Marcus, Cenero, Bonero. Bunch of NPCs. And then the Black Mages, which don't actually have lines yet. And I still need to figure out exactly what I want to do with the Terra faces, which is another thing I'm still kind of debating. But anyways. So, for those of you not aware, the poll has concluded, and by an absolutely overwhelming majority, you guys want us to do streaminations immediately following Loreweek. Like, yikes. So that's what we're going to do going forward. I'm still debating the exact format that's going to take, but to me, it seems like the best overall format is Narset. Also, I don't get your question, Tazara. Including today. Thank you very much, Narset. Much obliged and appreciate, sir, as always. If you happen to know where you want to put that, let me know. So here's the format that I'm thinking. We'll do Loreweek, and then we'll chop off for about half an hour. The episodes themselves are about 22 minutes, so that should give enough time to, watch at a relatively leisurely pace. And then we'll start the stream back up, and then we'll do the streaminations. Now, depending on exactly when that happens, we'll then either break for lunch, or, progress with streaming the game we're streaming that day. So that's the idea. Speaking of which, today the episode we'll be covering for anybody curious, is Season 1, Episode 5, Griffin the Brush-Off. That's going to be the episode we're doing today. Oh, you're talking about the Lore Reloaded thing. Yeah, actually, I did see that, sorry. Because I actually kind of watched Lore Reloaded as well, which is funny. Lore Reloaded is much bigger than I am, like, by several factors. I don't know why he watches my crap. I'm this little dinky guy in the corner. Anyways. Listen, Revensteig, I'm not angry anymore, because I got to kill Ross. Anyways, so that's how the streaminations are going to be going forwards. Now, Lore Reloaded mentioned me. He mentioned he's going to start doing lore runs soon, and he just needs to call them something else so they're not lore runs, because that's my thing. It's like Publius Draco there. He doesn't want to call them lore runs either, but I am still very thankful. Thank you very, very much for the sub, sir. Much obliged and appreciate, as always. And the usual question, if you want to know, if you know where you'd like to put that for a future stream, let me know. Speaking of which, that is the next bit of news. I kind of wanted to wait a minute for more people to stream in. We have several redistributions for stream funding that still need to go out. And I have a list right here. And I'm going to go down the list. So, the list is, and I quote, APM Nathan, Zvila, Lurker, Dr. Papa Penguin, Loxi, Dravinci, Martin with 5s, Araniki, Wraith64, Caspian, Fixit, Zlartek, Pretzel, Nerozaz, Myron, Hourglass, and Sacred King. If any of these people see this VOD or are here, reach out to me because you have donations that need to be redistributed. Okay? Cool. I figure this is the easiest way to get the hold of the most amount of people, so hopefully we'll get more of those people. I've been going through the list bit by bit, but a lot of these are not people who are around all that often, so... And I already poked on Discord, so that didn't go anywhere. But anyways, so that's the redistributions. That's what we're doing with Streaminations. That's Max Time. Let's talk about news. I actually have a lot of news today, just minor little bits of news. Like Mega, for example. You know Mega's awesome? Because I did. Oh, Jesus. Thank you very much, Mr. Red. Much obliged the subs, sir. Thank you.
Of course you follow me. They all do.
And thank you very, very much, Shadow Machine. As always, sir. Much appreciate the sub. That's apparently a re-notification, so screw you. I don't appreciate it at all! I definitely am not thankful. I'm evil. So we know evil people are very thankful. And I have put that towards Hedden, Mr. Red. I've put that towards Marvel Ultimate Alliance. And Kira White Noise says, I hate you, with a donation. Is that still on the list? I think it is. Hey, let me double check that. I don't think that one got reaped. Yep, no, it's still there. Okay. Just checking. Well, thank you very much, Kira White Noise. I am ever and always appreciative of your support. Thank you so much. And I will put that towards Albion, which is still on the list. Yeah, the current list is gargantuan, and people keep adding to it. Anyways. So. Oh, no, I could bow deeper than that. But my neck hurts. News, right. So, let's just go down the list. I have a bunch of stuff here. Blizzard recently banned the AU Hearthstone team for their thing, basically for the sake of solidarity. If you're not aware of what I'm talking about, I talked about the whole Blizzard thing last week. Well, amidst that, and there was something I didn't really mention because it was something that was ongoing, and I was right. I knew Blizzard was going to react to this. There was a college group who held up a sign, very impromptu, in the middle of a thing saying, you know, support Hong Kong, human rights are awesome. And they were unaffected by anything, and they said it's weird that we're not getting banned, whereas he was banned. Well, it took them a while. It took them about a week, actually, to finally respond to them. But they finally did decide to go ahead and ban them. Woo. In fact, I want to share this if you don't mind. The official announcement is, and I quote, happy to announce the AU Hearthstone team received a 6-month ban from competition. While delayed, I appreciate all players being treated equally and no one being above the rules. If you don't remember, these are the same people who said that they were going to bow out, even if they weren't banned, as a show of solidarity. So make of that what you will. BlizzCon is next Friday. 2 Fridays from now. Oh yeah, and I suppose... So, I know you guys like links, so I'm going to put all these in the VOD, of course, but there's the first link. And here's the second link, so here's our next little bit of tidbit. This is actually funny to me. This really is. So this is a document from... let's see... Ron Wyden, Marco Rubio, Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, Mike Gallagher, and Tom Wolanowski. Now, those names probably don't mean anything to you. Those are senators. United States senators. Now, these people have sent an open letter, a public letter, specifically to Bobby Kotick. I don't see Cruz's signature on that, so... Now... I point this out... Oh, sorry, and House of Representatives, sorry. I point this out, though. This is brownie points. That's what this is. This is people who are trying to get brownie points by jumping on an obvious issue. Right? Like, the Reds and the Blues can't agree on freaking anything. But when another foreign power is doing a very obvious, human rights violation kind of a thing, it's free brownie points. And I point that out because I can almost say... straight up that what this is actually coming from was one of them reached out to the other and was like, hey, you want like free press, like free good press? Yeah. Yeah, this is completely meaningless other than the PR points. The only reason I think it's even noteworthy is the fact that it is both the Reds and the Blues on this one, which is hysterical. The Reds and the Blues can't agree on anything except this. Free PR. Now, next little news tidbit, because I don't have anything else to say about that, is this one. So, again, I'm going to be giving you the summaries of most of these because that's kind of my job, but Kevin Feige has been put in charge of the TV branch of Marvel. So, I'm actually a little surprised he hasn't been up until now. But it does make sense, after all. So for those of you not aware, and I actually talked about this a lot recently from my perspective, you guys will hear all about this in about a year from now, when I start talking about the Phase 3 MCU stuff. So Perlmutter is, as of last week, was still in charge of the television branch of Marvel. And so all of the Marvel TV shows, those were all being done under Perlmutter's direction. Now, on the off chance you don't know who Perlmutter is, he's a horrible human being. He is also pretty much one of the biggest reasons why the MCU Phase 2 kinda sucked. Now, I know that that's kind of a vague statement, and I myself have defended the MCU Phase 2, but it's worth noting that the MCU Phase 2 was a gargantuan mess behind the scenes. Losing directors, losing actors, having things being rewritten 15 times, nobody could agree on direction, movies being almost completely unconnected. Basically, all of that boils down to the Marvel Creative Committee, and specifically Perlmutter himself. Perlmutter's the reason a Captain Marvel film didn't come out until Phase 3, because nobody is going to buy toys for a female superhero. Same thing with Black Panther, by the way. That's Perlmutter. Anyways, up until last week, that's the guy who's been in charge of the TV branch of Marvel. He is not anymore. Feige is. So Feige is now the head creative director and the mainliner, to use my own terminology, of both Marvel's television and Marvel's movies. Now, to be honest, this makes perfect sense. I'm actually a little bit surprised this hasn't been done already, considering if we look at the Phase 4 stuff, you'll notice that over half of the Phase 4 stuff is television. So... it is pretty sad, hazardous, yes. Anyways, so that's done. I just wanted to mention that because several people have been reporting on this as if Feige is also in charge of the comics. That is not true. He is only in charge of the AV stuff. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah, absolutely, Anthony Draft. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. could have been very different. I don't know if I want to say better, but I would like to say better. Anyways, let's see. What else have we got over here for notes? Ah, yes. Approximately 1/2 hour after the Loreweek ends, act. So, 30 minutes after we cut off stream for Loreweek, we will do the streamination. It's vague because Loreweek, how long Loreweek is depends on the specific week, so there's no specific time there. Makes sense? Anyways, now, next news bit point. This is just a very minor point I wanted to mention. This is the first time there's been a fairly significant legal and financial repercussion for the fact that people are abusing YouTube's systems. Now, YouTube systems have been massively abused for years, and we all know this. I mean, I especially know this since I've been a victim of several things that they actually do like this. This guy has been fined $25,000 and has basically agreed to do this and pled guilty effectively over this. Now, this guy is probably involved with some swatting, but they couldn't prove that. Which sucks, because I really wish they could prove that, because right now we now have legal precedent for sending you to frickin' prison for swatting people. So, that would be awesome. I do know that they're looking into that, though, so hopefully he will be horribly killed. I mean, imprisoned, whatever. So, moving on. Then we have... Okay, so... Paradox. We have a bunch of Paradox news. I'm just going to kind of rapid fire this because I don't have much to say about any of these things. Now, the first Paradox thing, this is... Let's start with the bad, because we kind of got that trend going. As usual, here's the link. Just link. So, this one amuses the hell out of me. So, Paradox announced they had some new mobile game. It was called Stellaris Galaxy Command. Now, first of all, barf. But second of all, people looked into it and were like, hang on a second. And so people noticed very quickly that the artwork in the game was actually from Halo. And this is an easily provable thing. Like, this is super duper easy to prove. It's just copy-paste from Halo something. I forget which Halo game. Halo 4. It's copy-paste from Halo 4. That article I linked there actually shows the comparison. Furthermore, the game itself is a reskin of an existing mobile strategy game called Nova Empire. Now, this is something people were already suspecting because it looks a hell of a lot like a reskin. However, this is great. If you tried to decline to grant the game the required permissions, the error message said Nova Empire rather than Stellaris Galaxy Command. Whoops! Yeah. So I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. I was actually going to at least give it a shot because I try to, have an open mind, and I know good mobile games could exist. It's just really. Oh yeah, Microsoft could really go to town on this one if they wanted to. Paradox has shut the game down, removed it from various stores, publicly apologized. Now, okay, credit where credit is due. They have actually publicly apologized. So, that's actually strangely rare. Most companies would say, oh, there was an issue and we'll work on it and blah, blah, blah. No, this guy just said, no, this is embarrassing. It's a placeholder text. We're dumb. We'll work on this. Yeah, I don't believe Paradox actually made this. I'm almost positive they didn't, actually, but I forget who. No, it's not saying, is it? Whatever, it's some other company. You know how Paradox is. Speaking of Paradox, so let's move forward here a little bit. So let's get to some positive Paradox news. So I'm just gonna rapid fire some links here if you want to look at these. There's that one, and then there's this one, then there's the count, then there's this one, then there's this one, and then there's this one, spamming my own channel. So all this is Paradox news. Thank you very much, the count. Much obliged and appreciate, sir. Thank you. And I will put that down. Count 35 for Banjo. There we go. Okay, so just kind of running through this really quick here. Hearts of Iron 4 is getting a DLC. It's La Resistance. It's an expansion aimed at developing the French resistance during World War II. There's going to be this big thing. They're going to have intelligence agencies. They're going to have different branches. They're going to deal with several specific new scenarios. Different kind of spies are going to be better in different territories based on things. Blah blah. It's a spy DLC. Now I can't stand HOI 4. I tried it many times. You got it, Tazar. Let me contact a moderator. Oh, I don't have any on right now, so never mind. HOI 4, I really didn't like Hearts of Iron 4. I tried so hard to like this game, and I just didn't. So I don't care, but I wanted to talk about it. The next one is, of course, Prison Architect is getting a DLC. Now, from what I understand, this is actually a DLC that already existed. It's just coming out on PC. It's called Psych Ward, which is exactly what it sounds like. You can make Arkham Asylum. Padded room, solitary cells, psychiatrist offices, orderlies, wardens, etc. When's that coming out? That's coming out November. This November. Speaking of which, actually, do we have a release date on Hearts of Iron 4? Nope. Okay. Battletech is getting something called Heavy Metal. This is from Harebrained Schemes, for those of you not aware of it. They do have a list of some new techs, including the Flea, the Vulcan, the Assassin, the Phoenix Hawk, the Rifleman. I can't believe it took us this long to get that. The Archer and the Annihilator, which is actually a personal favorite of myself. They're going to have Mortar is going to be added as a weapon. The Coil Beam is going to be added. And they're going to have a few new flash... What do they call them? Flash things. Flashpoints. Excuse me, they have one new flashpoint, sorry. And I think that's it. I mean, it's a DLC. Flashpoint, 8 new mechs. Apparently, it's going to feature the Bounty Hunter and the Black Widow, which I actually don't know who those are, which just shows how stupid I am. That's coming out in November as well. Thank you very much, Tonic the Dog Tour. Much obliged. This sub as always, sir. Thank you. Tonic the Dog Tour. Towards Greedfall. You got it. And then we have Age of Wonders Planetfall is getting its first expansion. Now, I don't know if this is a DLC or expansion, and I often played Age of Wonders. It's actually like the second to next game that's coming out for our stream. Either way, this is coming out in November. It's going to reveal more about the history of the Planetfall universe. It's going to introduce the Heritor, who are descendants of the Aztec dynasty. No idea what that is. 10 new hours of content, 2 new campaigns, 30 new locations. You know, figures. There's also going to be some kind of new NPC faction called the Forgotten, made up of those who are too broken, insane, or otherwise unfit for the glorious future of the Heritor. They were never meant to be resurrected, but apparently were anyway. There's also the Reapers. No, not those ones. No, not those ones. They are robotic assassins created in the distant past to hunt down supporters of the Heritors, but who decided, as robot assassins usually do, that the real problem is organic life and we must kill all humans. That's going to be coming out November 19th. November. Then there's Stellaris. I'm pretty sure it's not those ones. I'm not 100% sure. Stellaris is getting a new DLC, Federations, which, frankly, about time. Federations and Stellaris are so garbage that we actually banned the use of Federations in our multiplayer matches. Now, they're going to be... So, we're going to have the usual Federation thing, which is similar to what it is now, which is going to be called the Galactic Union. They're also adding research co-ops, trade leagues. They have a new stat called Cohesion. They're going to have the Galactic Community, which is the UN. And they're going to have the ability to vote for rights and diplomatic powers and blah, blah, blah. All sorts of stuff. Hopefully more diplomacy overhaul, because as I've said many times, there is no such thing as a 4X game, which actually has good diplomacy. So hoping we're getting closer there. This is also going to include the Lithoid Species Pack. Or sorry, this is going to be separate, but it's also going to come out, which is going to include the Lithivores, because, Lithivores are awesome. Lithivores is going to be coming out October 24th. That's, I think, this week, actually. Yep, that's this Thursday. And Federations is going to come out sometime this year. I think that's it for the Paradox news? Yes. Okay. I'm interested in the Trek mod? Yes, but I haven't actually gotten to try it ever since it's actually been completed. When I tried it, it was very much incomplete. So this is a Twitch link, but it's the news link, so whatever. It's getting the Galactic Community Valkorion, a.k.a. the Galactic UN. This is actually really cool news. Oh, right, I'm sorry. I forgot about Crusader Kings 3. I actually did. Sorry. Crusader Kings 3 is coming out. They announced it. I don't have much to say about it. That's why it skipped my mind, because all we know now is that it's been announced. They did mention as a specific comment that they wanted to improve the UI, which is good. And they wanted to focus more on the role-playing elements, which is good. It's going to have more RPG mechanics, from what I understand, and hopefully it's going to have an actual honest-to-God tutorial. And we talked about it yesterday, which is part of why it skipped my mind as well, because technically I've already talked about it on stream, but whatever. Anyway, so CK3, that's being made. Woo. Don't even have a release date for that one, really. It'll come out when it comes out. So anyways, Saints Row 2. Now, Saints Row 2 is a game that I actually really like. It's a good game. It's a game that established the Saints Row series and managed to branch off rather substantially from, you know, being a GTA clone, which, being honest, Saints Row 1 was a GTA clone. Saints Row 2 is a Saints Row game. However, if you've tried to play Saints Row 2 on the PC anytime in the last 10 years or so, it's been a colossal hassle. When I replayed it for the stream, or not stream, excuse me, for Rumination, I actually played it with my friend Pax, and we had to jump through hoops and custom hack the game in order to actually get the game playable at all. Now, the reason the game has never actually been ported to anything is the fact that... See, I actually like 2 better than 3 Thor, although I like 4 better than 2. Anyways, the reason it's never been ported or otherwise re-released is because of the fact that they lost the source code. Now, as the link that I gave earlier, which is to a Twitch VOD, it's timestamped, by the way, shows, they have actually found the source code. And Tizar is trying very hard to interrupt me, but I'm not going to let him. They found the source code, and as so doing, they're going to push forward they're going to try to patch it to be modern available. They're going to bake all the DLCs in, which it's a huge hassle to even try to play the DLCs up to this point in time. And they're going to re-release it. So that, I think, is awesome. More older, good games being re-released is awesome. I mean, Homeworld Cataclysm, you know what I mean? So, yeah, we avoided the Kingdom Hearts situation. Exactly right. So that's awesome. Ugh, now I gotta stand up. Thank you very much, Tizara, for interrupting me. Much obliged and appreciate, Tizara. Thank you so much. You know the question. Now, this is funny. How many of you know what Final Fantasy Brave Exvius is? I've talked about it. In fact, I've streamed it a little bit. I played it for a while until it got crap. It was a mobile game that actually looked like a mobile game rather than mobage. And then it stopped being a mobile game and started being mobage. So, you know, that's cool. We need more mobage in the world, right? Anyways, so yeah, Exvius is a crap game. It's getting a musical. Here's a link, as usual. Link. That's never my choice, G-Gamer. I don't decide that. Yeah, I'm not joking. It's getting a musical. It's actually getting a musical. It's obviously going to be a Japanese musical. I doubt it's going to be coming out outside of Japanese, but I just want to stress this, guys, in case you missed this. A mobage game, a mobile garbage game, is getting a musical. Like, near getting a musical, sure, that makes sense, right? Kingdom Hearts getting music. Yeah, sure. All right, whatever. This? Really? Clash of Clans, the musical. Why? Yeah, this literally sounds to me like money laundering or cooking the books or something. Does the musical have loot boxes? I would laugh if it did. That's true. Angry Birds got 2 movies. Emoji's got a movie, too. It's okay. We already peaked when Battleship got a movie. I've said that before. I'll say it again. So, moving on. Divinity Fallen Heroes has been put on hold. And there's the link for that one. For those of you not aware, Larian Studios has been working on 2 separate games. One of those is a direct sequel to Divinity Original Sin 2, also known as one of the best PC RPGs ever made. And one of them was Baldur's Gate 3. they have now put on effectively a permanent hold onto the sequel game, which is Divinity Fallen Heroes, until things are better. The general presumption is they are focusing all of their time and attention on Baldur's Gate 3, and then we'll be redirecting it towards Fallen Heroes later, hopefully? Fingers crossed? I mean, I hate to say that, but I'm actually, frankly, more excited for Fallen Heroes than I am for Baldur's Gate 3. Don't mistake me, Baldur's Gate 3 is probably going to be good, but I'd rather have a direct sequel to DOS 2 than I would have Baldur's Gate 3, but whatever. We'll see where it goes. We don't even have a release date for BG3 yet, so I can't even comment on that. Speaking of things being pushed back, now this is going to be a weird link, because this is straight from the actual website, so you need to, like, give a age thing and everything. But anyways, Vampire the Masquerade's Bloodlines 2 has been pushed back. Now, in this case, it's basically we want to make the game as good as possible, therefore we're pushing it back. Generally, that's a good thing. I was actually thinking about this recently, and this has come up recently. 1 or 2 pushbacks for polishing, good thing. 3 or 4, 5 or 6, okay, now we're starting to worry. Like, pushing back a release to work on it more is almost always a good thing until you do it more. And then it, like, slips down into bad. Nevertheless, this is the first pushback, and just like with the other pushbacks we've had, this is like the 3rd game. Doom was pushed back. What else? There was another one. I can't remember which one. There have been multiple games that have been pushed back in the last couple weeks, and all of them have been a single pushback, so here's hoping. So I am hopeful that that's going to be a good game, whenever it comes out. Yes, Valkorian. I even took pictures of him and shared them on Discord. Now, this is actually interesting. Now, this is... Ignore the link title, but this is just a nice way to summarize it. Riot Games has announced many different games coming out. Now, I have a little bit to talk about this one. So, those of you who don't know who Riot is, they are the people who make League of Legends. And they have pushed out... Let's see, so what do we got here? So they're putting out oh, Jesus, where's just the list? There's a lot of games. They went absolutely nuts in announcing many, many new games that they're working on. Let me just start by saying that I'm kind of in favor of this, despite the obvious Chinese Tencent influences on Riot Games. The fact is that this is something that Blizzard should have been doing for a while now, in my opinion. I know not everyone shares that opinion. But let's see. So yeah, there's like a card game, which is going to be a direct competitor to Hearthstone. They're going to have... What else we got here? Hang on. Give me a minute. Okay, this is apparently not the actual list of the games. Oh, here we go. This is the actual list. I'm sorry. I gave you the wrong list. I gave you the wrong link. I'm sorry. Here, I'll delete my own link. I can't delete my link. Here's the actual list. My bad. I had the wrong link. I hate how websites just link themselves and then themselves and then themselves. I usually try to go as source as I can. Anyway, so they're making a fighting game. They're making a tactical multiplayer FPS, a Overwatch thing. They're making a management sim. They're making a card game. And there's another game which they don't actually tell me what it is, but it's something. And then there's an upcoming animated TV series they're making. And a mobile version of League of Legends and a mobile version of TFT, whatever that is. And I think that's it. Oh, Teamfight Tactics is apparently what that is. And, okay, that's it. That's the full list. There we go. Jeez. So, Riot Games has announced a whole bunch of stuff. Now, so for those of you not aware, let's just talk real for just a second here. League of Legends actually has a lot of lore to it. I've never really covered it, and I've never really studied it, but I do know it's there, and I've looked into it briefly. I only wanted to point that out because it's one of those, it's League of Legends. Most people don't think of the lore of the series when they think of it. I mean, Fortnite has lore. They usually don't think of that either. Anyways. So these are apparently going to be actually based in the history and the world and blah, 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 blah. The other thing, though, this is pure speculation. Pure speculation. But for those of you not aware, as like 70,000 people are saying in chat, Riot is 100% owned by Tencent, aka a company that is part of the Chinese censorship, the Chinese government censorship program, and what allows what, where, and when, okay? Now, that's important because that means that this is probably a move by a deliberate act of investment, which is also important because you remember how I mentioned how it was my opinion that what the Chinese government was doing was smart? You remember me saying that last week? Not good, just smart. About the investment thing. On the off chance you didn't hear it, I'll go ahead and repeat myself very briefly. The idea here is that they are playing for different goals. Rather than trying to make as much money, they're trying to buy as much influence. They are doing long-term investment into the gaming market rather than just trying to make a buck this quarter. That's the summary. So it is my theory, to extrapolate on that idea, that this move on behalf of Riot Games, which again, 100% owned by Tencent, is them attempting to do the same general concept, to spread out their market and their brand into different genres to pull in new players and new people and just generally increase the interest. Yeah, diversify the genre, diversify the portfolio, more influence. That's my thinking of what's happening here. And again, smart. As I've said before, I wish this... I have actually literally said on this show, this is what I wish Blizzard has been doing. Blizzard has not been doing this. Just to name a direct example, I can name multiple companies that I wish were doing things like this, in branching out with different things and trying to do, different ideas with regards to their IPs or what they can do. But no, instead, Riot is doing this with League of Legends. Anyways, we'll see where that goes, I suppose. Is that it? I think that's actually it for random news. So that was just kind of a rapid fire there. But like I said, a lot of stuff happened. So let's go ahead and move over to our next topic. Our only real topic for the day. Fortnite. You guys like Fortnite, right? God, please don't add more things to my list, Cesar. It's already too huge. You guys love Fortnite. It's all guys, we're just going to stream Fortnite all day. Is that cool? Just non-stop. Let me ask you a real question for a second. What don't you like about Fortnite? I can tell you what I don't like about Fortnite. And I got all three, Tazara. Or 4. There's 4 there. This is why I say this out loud. There. I got all 4 now, Tazara. Thank you. Yeah, we talked about it earlier, Baron. Oh, I should get a timestamp for this. I don't know, PWK. When we get there, we'll decide. I have no idea. I have the game installed, but I haven't fired it up yet. I like Shikor's answer. The massive media presence has a big pendulum effect. That's most of what I don't like about Fortnite. Right there. I don't like Fortnite's influence on industries. I don't like the fact that in Avengers Endgame, when they decided to showcase that they were playing a video game, they chose Fortnite. I don't like the fact that Fortnite is so large scale that it's stupid. To put it as bluntly as I possibly can. That actually irritates me. They could be the best game in the world, and that would if it was Final Fantasy VI, that would still irritate me. It's not Final Fantasy VI, it's Fortnite. Which is the second thing that irritates me about it. I admit I have absolutely no interest in Battle Royale for the most part. I do think there are many things that could be done with the Battle Royale genre that mostly aren't. Although we do have that Civilization Battle Royale, which at least looks moderately interesting, and the Tetris Battle Royale, which is surprisingly fun. But yeah, this is just, if I could be blunt, this is just another... I mean, how many times have we seen this, guys? Let's see, we saw it with Call of Duty, we saw it with Grand Theft Auto, we saw it with Doom. How many times have we seen this? Command & Conquer did this too. A little smaller scale back in the day, because media just wasn't the same thing. But yeah. Yeah, World of Warcraft, yep. They did a South Park, oh wow. Yeah, we've seen this before. We'll see it again. There'll be another one. Alright, we got all that out of the way? Alright, so, last week Fortnite did one of the best things I've ever seen in gaming marketing. And I mean that with 100% certainty. And I want to actually talk about this because this is the kind of thing I would do, just to put that as bluntly as possible. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, Lore, you're just overestimating your marketing capacities. No, see, what I usually do is I come up with marketing ideas that no company would actually do. Because they look at me and be like, Lore, you're insane. No, that's going to piss off our player base, and that's going to create controversy, and it's going to stir the pot, and we're going to lose players. And I'm like, no. So what they did... You're absolutely right, Shikar. That is literally what happened. What they did was so there is, as I said, there is actually a degree of lore to Fortnite, and they've been building up to this for a while. And to summarize briefly, people who were actively playing at the time, there was these missiles that launched, and there was this meteor that hit, and then there was this black hole, and all of the people got sucked into the black hole, and then it went to character screen, or the login screen or whatever. Hi, Adam. And so what happened is if you tried to play a game, it would be like starting a new game, and then the game would get sucked into the black hole, and then it would just... That's it. You couldn't actually start a new game. Now, Epic, I guess? Is that the developers? I know it's an Epic hold game, but I can't remember the actual name of the developers. Whoever actually makes Fortnite, their official... So it was Epic. Okay. Epic's actual official stream was just the black hole. For hours, by the way, for hours and hours, just sitting there, watching the black hole. It wasn't even like it was animated. It was just, and this just was. So what was happening is this was the changeover from season I forget the number to season I forget the number, and it was brilliant. It was actually, so I want to talk about all the ways this was brilliant, if you'll forgive me for just a moment. So first and foremost, it shows a massive amount of trust in the stability of the product. Let me use a direct parallel here. And yeah, I don't know anything about Apex Legends, so I can't comment on that. Sorry. Let's use World of Warcraft, okay? I want you, yeah, and it did have a mini game if you typed in the Konami code. Let's use World of Warcraft as an example. I want you to imagine for a moment, I know most of you probably aren't familiar with WoW, but I want you to imagine for a moment that you know something about WoW, and we're all, like, there's this huge, I don't know, Reaper, like an actual sovereign Reaper who's going to show up, and it's going to like, and it just starts killing players, and when the players die, they actually get booted back to the login screen, and if they try to log in, they can't. And just, and then what happens is everyone basically gets booted out of the game, and then the usual Tuesday update happens, where they start updating the game to the next, patch or acclamation patch or expansion or whatever. Because this event is basically, if at its most basic bare bones levels, this whole Fortnite event was just a way of covering a patch. This was them putting something into the usual patch cycle. But what usually happens is the servers go down. There's like an announcement. The servers are going down in 15 minutes. Then the servers go down. Then they patch. Then the servers come back up. Here they tied an event into that event. So let's assume that happened. Let's say you tried to log in and it's just death. There's nothing but death and you can't do anything. They would never do that. They would be like, no, we can't do that. We can't prevent players from... That's just going to piss everyone off. We're going to get tons of things. They would never actually try something like that. And I can say this with definitiveness because the one and only time WoW did do something like that, people complained to high heaven, and they've never done it since. I'm referring to the Wrath expansion launch, by the way. So what they did showed a confidence in the product. That's the most important thing marketing-wise I wanted to say. They said, our game is doing well enough that we're okay pissing off, no, I didn't hazardous, pissing off people and upsetting people and interrupting people's ability to play because the attention it garners and the overall fan base is going to remain strong. I have no idea, hazardous. I can't guess. Now, that right there is, this is going to sound preachy, so forgive me, but I think that's one of the bigger problems with a lot of gaming companies right now is a lack of confidence in their product. This kind of marketing stunt it's a stunt, and it worked brilliantly. It generated a huge amount of interest and buzz. In fact, no, I don't, Huthor. In fact, I want to share something here. So for those of you not aware, every morning when I wake up, I do what I call a news trawl, where I just go and try to catch as much geek news as I can. I got like 10 different sites that I go to, just trying to figure out what's going on, right? So Monday morning, I wake up, and I kid you not, 100%, every news site I go to, the top story was about this Fortnite black hole thing. All of them. Yeah, there's that saturation problem again. That's kind of my point. This generated a huge amount of buzz over something that really wasn't a big deal. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but even assuming this was like a major patch content, which apparently it wasn't according to Uthor, this is just a way of disguising a patch update. But the fact that they bothered doing that, and the fact that it caused such a... It shows how rare this kind of event is. Which is sad. It shouldn't be that rare. How many of you guys have ever played Asheron's Call? Or watched me stream it? It's like a one person so far. Yeah, I'm guessing nobody, really. I guess I'll just talk about it in a vacuum again. That's okay, I was kind of prepared to. So, spoilers for a 20-year-old game that you can't play anymore. During Asheron Call's run, there was a story arc that was building up over several patches, which was dealing with the reveal of the Hope Slayer Baelzeron. Now, Baelzeron was going to... you know what? You don't care about the lore. The point being that he was a big bad guy. Let's just summarize. He was actually a victim, and there's this whole tragedy thing, but let's move on from that. So, he was going to be revealed. Now, a couple things that happened here regarding this. First of all, they actually reached out. The developers reached out to some of the biggest names in some of the biggest guilds and said, hey, you want to be a part of this? And they recruited these players and gave them mega, like, developer-level buffs in order to empower them, in order to go do this live event to destroy this crystal, which was going to enable them to summon the Hope Slayer. And there's this one server, and I can never remember the name of the server. If Gary was on, he would tell me the name of the server. There's this one server that was holding out, and they had, like, this vigil. I kid you not. They had players on 24/7 to make sure nobody could get in there and actually destroy the crystal. Now, this was really cool. The problem is the developers had no plan for this happening, so this is why they empowered some people and basically sent in cheated players to take out this crystal, although they still didn't succeed immediately because of the coordination and skill of the players involved. But anyways, the point being, this was a huge marketing event at the time. Now, obviously, Asheron's Call wasn't as big as, say, EverQuest, so not as many people heard about this, but this was a big marketing push for the big patch that was coming out, where Baelzeron would actually be released. This kind of event The fact that I have to go back to an event that happened at this point like 17 years ago is pretty sad. That's how rare this kind of thing is. It happens. FF14 arguably did something like this. Tabula Rasa apparently did something like this. I have to say apparently because I don't know personally. Asheron's Call 2 did something like this. WoW did this back in Wrath. I'm sure there's other examples, but I can't think of any. It's not a common thing. And it's weird. Which brings me to the next point. I know this is going to sound strange, but I have a weird feeling that this, once again, kind of ties into the idea of playing for different goalposts. You're right, Guild Wars 2 did do that with the with what's-her-face, the Red Scarlet Death Spike Thorns thing, leading into the Thorns expansion, Heart of Thorns. I have a feeling this might be the whole aiming for different goalposts thing again. Because if you're not super interested in the next quarterly report and how much money you're making on it, but are trying to do more long-term investment things, then you could do things like take a hit for the possibility of a longer game. Because this kind of a move is a gamble, as weird as and stupid as that sounds. In today's market, this is literally a gamble to do something like this. But you can kind of see why this sort of move could be as successful as it is. And you're right, Hazardous is right. This is additional content you have to make. I could go on for quite a while about the nature of this type of content, and how this type of content is the kind of thing that should be done more. And I'm going to say that word very definitively. I have said for years that one of WoW's biggest problems is it doesn't do stuff like this, especially given how relatively cheap and easy this type of stuff would be to do compared to the normal patch content, but that's neither here nor there. It depends on the game, Baron. But I just wanted to comment on this because this was a bizarrely, weirdly, beautifully done marketing stint. It really was. The fact, and I want to mention one other thing too. It's not just the fact that they did the fact that they also nuked their Twitter feed. And they had only one post that was like, you know, you're screwed or whatever. And they didn't... they did something else. I forget the other thing they did. They did something else to show that everything was eaten by the black hole or whatever. And they actually streamed the black hole screen for hours upon hours or days or however long it actually was. That right there is probably the most bold thing that they did. By being willing to chop that down and say, nope, we are flat out, we're not only going to refuse you content, but we are going to shove it into your face that this content is here. That kind of permanence is such an extremely rare thing to do when it comes to video game design. If you think about marketing, please. I know I talk about marketing a lot, but think about marketing for a second, okay? Think about the last really big game that got marketed here in the States was Grand Theft Auto 5. But at the same time, what kind of marketing did Grand Theft Auto 5 do? Do you remember? You know what I remember most about GTA 5's marketing is the bus ads. You've heard me talk about bus ads before. I remember the bus ads. They blew a gargantuan amount of money on marketing that game. But it was all normal stuff. It was all typical stuff. It was all mundane, boring, just here's an ad, and here's a bus, and here's a giant poster, and we're going to make this billboard. Whoop-de-doo. All that does, see, this is going to sound so strange. That is actually not marketing as an aggregate. That's a specific branch of marketing. And I don't remember the term of it properly because I'm an idiot, but it's the idea of creating awareness. It's that specific slice of marketing, is creating awareness. Coke is probably the actual biggest practicer of awareness marketing, where they make it extremely clear that Coca-Cola is something that everyone knows about. And that's why they just have this non-stop array of marketing constantly. Like, I imagine 100% of my viewers right now know what Coca-Cola is. And it's because of the fact that they do an excellent job of making sure that everyone knows what Coca-Cola is. They push theater ads. They push fan projects. They make sure that they have television presentation. They make sure that Coke is sponsored in a huge number of television shows and movies. It's mentioned in video games on occasion. I mean, Coke saturation is huge, right? And it's specifically part of that thing. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They also got the yearly Christmas ads. I was going to make a joke, but this isn't an Aquafina. This is generic, but, you know. Point being, that's the kind of thing that most gaming companies flood money of, just flood money into, is to try and create awareness, which isn't bad, but this is... yes, I could, hazardous. This is, I mean, I hate to use the current year argument, but this is 2019. The environment has changed on a very fundamental level, and I really feel like a lot of companies don't realize that yet. I guarantee you that more eyeballs watched Fortnite last week than however many people saw GTA 5 in an equivalent week after announce. I guarantee it. Real quick, what was the soda company that sponsored World War Z, the film? I think it was Pepsi. Pretty sure it was Pepsi. I actually have read World War Z. It's a good book. I actually recommend it. I have seen the film. It's a terrible film. I don't recommend it. But what I remember most about the film, by far, is... Imagine this is a Pepsi can. It's like 20 solid seconds of Brad Pitt drinking a Pepsi. It's just... I haven't seen that overt of product placement since Dr. Pepper over in Godzilla. Some of you probably know that one. No, Adam. Oh my god. I know it's Brad Pitt, and he's Brad Pitt and all. He's very pitty and bratty. Oh my god. Anyways. No, Crazy Norse. Yeah, real-life Brad Pitt has probably not drunk that much Pepsi in years. Anyways, that's basically all I got for this week. I'm going to do one more little rundown here, real quick. So in the off chance, just as a fresh reminder, if any of these people are here or present, do me a favor and poke me really quick. If you are APM Nathan, Sevilla, Lurker, Dr. Papa Penguin, Loxi, Dravinci, Martin, Araniki, Wraith, Caspian, Fixit, Zlartek, Pretzel, Nerozaz, Myron, Hourglass, Sacred King, or Race Cat, please poke me. And be like, yo. Otherwise, I'm going to go and chop off the YouTube VOD.